Today I have an awesome video for you about the Embers of Muatt, the only faction who got a guaranteed war zone in this game. And you probably want to win your next game, and to do that then you will need a fairly good first round. And for the Embers of Muatt, the first round is actually fairly simple. You will need to have gained control of at least 2 systems. You may probably have researched one technology, depending on what strategy card you picked, and you will have built some units using your war zone. So let's have a look at that. If you get a map slice that suits your faction, then it will improve your first round even further. So you will need a ton of resources in the early game to unlock your war zone prototype 2. So go look for some planets that are both resource heavy but also influence heavy, because you will also need a lot of influence to buy more command counters so that you can star forge units out where your war zones are. And you will also need at least 2 technologies before you can research your prototype war zone 2. So if you can find a slice that has either a red or a yellow tech skip in it, then that can reduce the cost a little bit, because you can use those planets to skip one technology, and then you can get the war zone a little earlier. And if possible, try to select a slice that got a supernova in one of the adjacent slices, like here, because when you have the Magnus reactor technology, you can move units into that supernova and also produce more units, and that neighbor can nearly do nothing about it. So you can be a super threat by standing in there for the remainder of the game. So all in all, you need a slice with a little more resource than influence, but you still need both, so you can star forge units throughout the game. Now that you know what to look for in your slice, I want to talk about a few important decisions you need to make when playing the Embers of Muatt. The Embers of Muatt is a simple faction to understand, but a difficult one to unlock. And to do that, you will need to solve these 3 problems. Firstly, you start with only 1 ship that got capacity. It's an easy problem to solve, but still important. And I will show you how you can do that the Muatt way when we get to the demonstration of the first round. Secondly, you want to research your prototype war zone 2 unit upgrade, but that will require 2 to 3 technologies to get. And when we talk about technologies a little later, I will tell you which ones I recommend and why. And third, you want to build your second war zone, and that will cost you another 10 to 12 resources, so you will need a ton of those early on. But when you have solved these 3 problems, and you have hopefully done that by round 3, then you want to start negotiating deals that are definitely in your favor. And remember that the fear of being attacked by a war zone is so much stronger than actually being it. So why not use your war zones to negotiate deals, so that you can gain some more trade goods or maybe some other benefits that can help you throughout the game. And remember, try to avoid being a warmonger. You risk turning the entire table against you. So use your war zones to negotiate deals. And in this way, you also minimize the risk of losing them. But before I start talking about these 3 problems, let's have a look at the strategy cards and the ones you should try to get in the first round. Getting to pick the right strategy card for your faction in round 1 makes the difference between an average and a good one. So let me show you my top 3. First, we got trade. I think this card will give you the most value in the first round, and I will demonstrate how in the next segment of this video. My second pick would be warfare, and with this card you get to move your war zone twice in the same round. And this will of course make your neighbors a little bit nervous about what you're going to do with it next. But of course you will use it to gain control of the 3rd system, so you get those extra sweet resources. And thirdly, we got politics. And with this card, you are sure to be the first one to pick strategy cards in round 2. And here I will recommend that you get the technology card, so that you can research your prototype war zones 2 unit upgrade. But it will also give you 2 action cards, and you get to look at the top 2 agendas in the agenda deck. And if you want, you can try and sell the speaker token to your player on your right, so that you can earn a few extra trade goods and boost your economy even more. Just make sure to agree on what card you want, so that he doesn't take it in front of you. But first, let me show you how the first round with trade can go. And thereafter I will show you some fun you can do with the warfare strategy card. So what you should do is this. As your very first action, I would play the agent. It says exhaust this card to choose a player. That player may produce up to 2 units that each have a cost of 4 or less in a system that contains one of their war sons or their flagship. So I choose ourselves, and since we have a war son here in our home system, we can produce up to 2 units there. And I will produce a carrier and a destroyer for the 4 resources we got on our home planet here. And then I would pass the turn along, and everybody else takes their turn. And when it gets to be us again, then I would have a quick conversation with the green and the purple player, because I want to play the trade strategy card, and I want to hear if any of them wants to do trade with us. And the trade strategy card says, gain 3 trade goods, replenish commodities, and choose any number of other players. Those players use the secondary ability of this strategy card without spending a command token. So let's do that, and we will gain the 3 trade goods as it says, and also the 4 commodities. And let's just say that the green player agrees to do a trade with us whenever we get to be neighbors. So I also replenish him. And then that was our action for now. And then we pass the turn along, and when it gets to be us again, then I would move our newly built destroyer out here. And hopefully the green player also gains control of this system here, so that we get to be neighbors. And now we can actually complete the deal. And let's just say for simplicity that we do a 4 commodities for 4 commodities. Like that. So now we got 7 trade goods. And next up it's the technology player, and he decides to play the technology card. So we want to do the secondary of that. So we pay 1 strategy token here and 4 trade goods. And then we research AI development algorithm. It says when you research a unit upgrade technology, you may exhaust this card to ignore any one prerequisite. And it also gives you a discount. When 1 or more of your units use production, you may exhaust this card to reduce the combined cost of the produced units by the number of unit upgrade technologies that you own. And the reason why I want to go for this technology is because we want to research our prototype Warson 2, and it's both a unit upgrade, so we can ignore one of the prerequisites on that, and it requires 3 red and 1 yellow technology to research. And when we get to actually build the Warson, then this technology also gives us a discount, so it only costs 9 resources to build. And after the technology player has taken their turn and people have researched whatever they want to research, it now gets to be us again. And now we can move our newly built carrier out here, for instance, and gain control of these 2 planets here, like so. And we pass the turn along, and it gets to be us again. And now we can activate out here and move our Warson, 2 infantry, and probably the 2 fighters along to protect the Warson a little bit more, and gain control of this system out here. And with that, we have gained control of 2 new systems with planets here. We have done trade with the neighbors. We have researched 1 technology, and we have also built 2 units using our Warson. So that's a fairly good first round for the Muatt player. But you can also choose to make some of the other players' first round somewhat worse by stalling them out from building on the secondary of warfare. This will give you an advantage. Let me show you how by selecting the warfare strategy card. So let me show you how you can stall them out. With the warfare strategy card you have 6 actions, where most of the other factions only have 4 of them. So as your first action, you play your agent to build 1 carrier and 1 destroyer for the 4 resources in your home system. As your second action, you move your carrier out with 2 infantry to gain control of 2 planets adjacent to your home system. As your third action, you move your Warson, 2 fighters and 2 infantry out, also to gain control of the system. Then as your fourth action, you use your Starforge ability by paying a token from your strategy pool to place either 2 fighters or 1 destroyer with your Warson. And then at this point in the game, most of the other players are running out of actions, but you haven't played the warfare strategy card yet, and that means they were not able to produce units on the secondary of that. And that means that they have to pass before they get the chance to move those units out to gain control of another system. And in this way you have denied them the resources and influence from those planets in round 2, giving you a little head start. Then as your fifth action, you play the warfare strategy card and you remove the command token from your Warson. And as your sixth and final action, you will move your Warson out to gain control of a third system. If you pick the warfare strategy card, that means you can go for Megator Rex in round 2. Maybe someone else gets there before you and get the Megaton Rex point, but you can easily kick them out using your Warzone. And if you park it there for the remainder of the game, then you can use the 6 influence to buy more command tokens, and more command tokens mean more star forging, and more star forging means even more units out there on the map for you, which is awesome. Did you know that you only need 4 technologies when you're playing the Embers of Muatt? Let me show you which ones in the next segment of this video. Let's talk about technology. In my opinion, you only need a few of them, so why not get them as fast as possible so you can unlock your faction. First up, you got plasma scoring. You start with this. When one or more of your units use bombardment or space cannon, one of those units may roll 1 additional die, and since your Warzone's got bombardment, it's a fairly logical technology to start with. And the first one I would research myself is, as mentioned before, the AI development algorithm, because it brings you so much closer to your prototype Warzone 2 unit upgrade here. And then as the third technology, I would consider getting the Sarween tools, because it says when one or more of your units use production, reduce the combined cost of the produced units by 1. And even though this is one of the better technologies in the game, you will not benefit as much from it as other players do, because you will be building a lot of units by using your agent. And since your agent is not one of your units, then this discount does not apply when you use that. So instead, if you have a yellow tech skip planet in your system, then I would strongly consider exhausting that and then skipping getting the Sarween tools, and then you can actually, with just the AI development algorithm and this yellow tech skip, then you can research your prototype Warzone 2, because it requires 3 red technologies and 1 yellow, and you got these 2 here, and the AI development algorithm counts as the third one, and you just used the yellow tech skip planet to skip the yellow technology required to get this. And now you have researched the strongest unit in the game. So if you haven't built your second Warzone yet, then I would definitely do it now, and then also unlock the commander, so that we get 1 trade good every time we use a token from the strategy pool. And besides these 2 technologies, then I would strongly consider getting the Destroyer 2. It requires 2 red technologies, and it improves the anti-fighter barrage. So instead of rolling 2 dice and hitting on a 9, then you get to roll 3 dice and hit on a 6. And I would also consider getting the other faction technology called the Magnus Reactor. It says your ships can move into supernovas. Each supernova that contains 1 or more of your units gains the production 5 ability as if it were one of your units. So let's say, from the example before, that you have made some transactions with the green player and you have started to become friends here, and then your natural opponent will be your other neighbor, the purple player, and he also got a supernova up here in his equidistant system here. So with the Magnus Reactor technology, you can now actually move units into the supernova, and you can also produce more units in there. And the only thing he can do about it is researching PDS2 and then activating the supernova, and then he can shoot into the supernova, hitting your ships. But besides that, your ships are completely protected from the other player's ships. And you can even grow your fleet stronger here and start to be a real threat to the purple player. Alright, enough about technology. Let's talk about the awesome synergies there are in your faction. So I will talk about that next. You can actually build a small fleet by using only your faction abilities, your Warzone, and having your mechs in strategic places. So for example, if you play your agent to build 1 carrier and 1 cruiser, then on your next turn you starforge 1 destroyer into that system. And since your commander is unlocked, you will gain 1 trade good back from that. And you also got 2 mechs in that system, and that means you can also place 2 more infantry there. And that means that you now have a carrier, destroyer, a cruiser, and 2 infantry ready to go. And the best part is that you can use it in the same round that you actually build them in. I think the Embers of Muatt is a fun faction to play. I really like negotiating deals with my neighbors, especially when they are backed by one of my Warzones. I have to admit this was a challenging video to make, so I want to give a big shout out to Space Cat's Peace Turtles and Rasmus for writing his comprehensive guide on Embers of Muatt. All of their thoughts helped me combine mine into something that I could present for you guys here. So with that said, thank you for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your next game, and you can watch more content here.